Welcome to Bottom Line Sports Talk. I'm George Abraham. You know my partner Albert Kempman. We have a special guest with us today, Anthony Mancini. Dom, welcome. We have do a little about wrestling, but possibly not as much as we should. So we thought this was our opportunity to catch up.
And we'll jump in right away. As Boardman's head coach, had to be your greatest thrill ever. The family Mancini's out there on the blog. Before I even start with you, hey Joe, you are the weak link in the family now. You got to get your act together, Joe. I know you're a big time superintendent now, but right now when they go to the family reunions, they're saying there's one guy didn't make it. With that in mind, Joe, Don,
yeah.
Tell us the thrill.
Well, the thrill. I mean, the thrill started when these guys were in preschool and kindergarten. They start wrestling, and to be able to take this journey from that point all the way to the end and see both him and Vince succeed their senior year, get to the state tournament. Of course, Anthony placed 8th. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that.
And for your fans, we're talking about Vince is Dom's son and Anthony is his nephew. You have a hard time with the tears and the joy, Dom, with that situation. Tell us how you felt when both of them made the state tournament.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Anthony's match to go to state, he made it to the semifinals, and he had a kid that we knew he could beat. Everything was going along good. Then all of a sudden he throws a full Nelson on the kid, which is like a grade school error.
Yes.
So of course I'm in the corner thinking, what's he doing?
So he's losing his poise, okay.
But he's losing his poise a little bit now. He got himself back together and just threw a hard half on the kid and pinned him.
Yes.
So he got to the.
How about a pin to go?
A pin to go.
Isn't that the greatest?
It's the greatest. It's the greatest.
And then tell us about Vince.
Now Vince, oh my God, Vince, he gets into semifinals and loses in overtime. Close match. So he comes back and oh my God, the match is going. There was a couple situations where he should have scored points and the ref didn't give them to him. So now
you thought?
Oh yeah. That match should have been over in regulation.
Explain that
for
to
two
us.
reasons. One, tell us what you saw what somebody else missed, because I was telling him about 50 years ago we had wrestling in Altoona. And one of the greatest amateur wrestlers in the history of the world, Wade Chalice, was wrestling. And my buddy wouldn't give him the pin. And he had the guy's shoulders down, and they were complaining in Haldysburg, and it was the one match he didn't pin the guy the whole year. Did you see something where the ref was a little shaky, or was he just not knowing his job?
Well, they just didn't give the takedown. I mean,
Okay.
It's pretty much defined in the rule book. If you get around behind a guy, you hook his leg.
That's what I say, yes.
If you cross face, it's a takedown. Well, they didn't give it to him, so now the match goes into overtime.
I'm going to understand. What's the reason they wouldn't give it to him if it's the rule? What would they say to you?
That's the whole.
What would they say to you, Dom?
Oh, they're just saying, well, I didn't think he had control.
No, control's the word.
See,
All right.
just say, I didn't think he had
that
control.
That was the word then. Okay, control. Okay.
But, one thing about officials is they don't get in the wrestling room and wrestle and feel the situations like coaches do and the kids do. So a lot of times, you can get a different call in a situation from a different official.
That is so it's wise to know your official.
Absolutely.
As a wrestling
Absolutely.
coach. How about that, George?
Hey,
No, I would.
if I got
basketball way,
if I got a referee that I know is going to call stalling on top, we're going to let the guy up, because some referees don't let you work on top to try to get a turn. So you got to know how they're going to call it, because otherwise, if my guy's on top and I'm working, but he's hitting the top guy for stalling, we're going to get a point against us.
Yes.
Give him the point right away, and we'll get on our feet.
Back to Vince.
Yeah,
Is there one referee?
One ref and an assistant.
Okay.
Okay, at that particular match, you that far along, there's still only one?
Yeah. There's one and an assistant.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
that's when it gets important.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So-
big time.
So they go into overtime, and the way overtime works is a minute first period, no takedown. Okay, the second period, what they do is they flip a disc, and one guy gets his choice, top or bottom. Okay, so what happened in that case is, Vince rode him out, and the kid from Walsh Jesuit rode Vince out. So now they're in sudden victory. This is the last step. Okay,
so you're saying in both frames, both 1 minutes. Neither
no
one.
score. Right. So now we're down to the 30-second tiebreaker. This is it. So whoever scored first, which Vince got a takedown in the first period, scores tied 2-2.
Right.
So Vince took top, and
so he gets a choice because he scored first.
Right.
Gotcha.
So we took top because they both just got done riding each other out.
Right.
Okay. So 30 seconds is not a long period of time, and really, in the bottom position for 30 seconds, unless you're great, and quick, you could stall on top and figure out ways to get that 30
You
seconds.
can ride them out
right
for 30 seconds, okay.
So they go about 15 seconds and they get a stalemate. Vince is on the leg, works out, they get a stalemate. There's 13 seconds left.
Okay.
They go back to the center. Vince throws in a reverse headlock, which is kind of risky, but he had it tight and, rode him. The guy stood up a little, but he pulled him down to the mat, pulled him in his lap, and we watched the clock tick off. And of course, I jumped around like a
I saw
chicken.
his picture, and he jumped into the
Yeah,
air.
yeah,
It was the greatest.
It was.
ever.
I mean, I've never had a kid, an upperclassman who's never even been to the district tournament, make it to the state tournament in 1 year. I mean, this is a kid who's undersized his
Yes.
whole career. Finally gets 1 year. He gets one shot.
Gets that shot.
One shot, and he makes it happen. I mean, it's
That's a
to me,
tearjerker.
it's
a tearjerker. What it is? It's
what
unheard of.
It's what you
Yeah,
live
a
for.
tearjerker,
It's what you
unheard
live
of.
for. I love the kids who fight through adversity. Who Vince never made it to the youth state tournament, the junior high state tournament. Never keep close to any of those.
So it isn't like he went down and thinking, "Oh, this guy's favorite." Who? Yeah, that Vince Mancini.
No.
He's the guy you look out for.
No,
No.
he's the last guy on the list, but he's in the show. He made it to the show. So.
Okay, now we got Anth who went down to the show and ended up on the medal stand.
Yeah.
Tell us how that made you feel. When you get that medal, that's a great thing for not only the athlete, but the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed he lost his first match, 3-0. I thought we could have won
But
that
it's a match you could win.
Yeah, he could have won
Okay,
that match.
it's a match you could win. So
Yeah, he could have won
okay,
that match.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he could wrestle that kid again, beat him.
That's
But you know
I'm
what?
saying.
That's what happens.
Sometimes it's
But
not
you know
capable.
what? Sometimes it just doesn't happen.
Right.
But what I like is he came back, and then he had a kid from St. Ed's,
How about that?
and he pins him. Okay, so now he's pinned a kid from St. Ed's, and lo and behold, we got a placing match with the kid who he split with. A kid,
During the season.
Edwards from Twinsburg, who is Anthony won the sectionals, beat him in the sectionals 8-6. Anthony got pretty much handled by him 10-5 in the districts.
Okay.
So now here we are. We got to win this match to get on the stand. That's where we're at.
This match is for
How
the
much
stand.
strategy involved? In other words,
Oh,
there's a guy.
huge strategy.
He's wrestled 40 matches in a season.
Huge strategy.
How much strategy is involved, and how quickly can you implement it when you have to wrestle, say, in 2 hours?
Oh, we implemented it real quick because this kid, he was not in great shape, and he would take a timeout
Listen,
every
listen,
match.
this is
He would
great.
take
This
an
is
injury
great.
timeout every match. Take his whole minute 30. He'd get halfway through the match, and he would come up with an injury, and he would get because the referees, if they call for injury time, they have to give it to him, whether you're hurt or not.
Okay.
But we knew he was going to gas.
But you know it's
we knew
coming.
we knew he was going to take
Okay.
a timeout.
Tell us
So
what
we
you
told
told
Anthony,
What'd you tell Anthony?
you go 100%.
Right from the start.
100% out the whole match because you're going to get a minute and a half break.
You know it's
We
coming.
know you're going to get a minute and a half. Sure enough,
There's great
Anthony's
strategy right
plowing
there.
through he's plowing through the match. He's got the lead. What does the kid do? Goes down with an ankle injury, and he takes his minute and a half, and we're right where we want to be. Anthony gets his air back, gets a little water, finishes the job. We're on the stand.
Wow, how about that strategy involved? But the best thing is that Anthony did it.
He did
You
it.
understand?
Oh.
You could talk about it.
Oh.
But he went out from
This-
the start.
Oh,
and said,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Coach-
right.
My uncle said we're
Oh,
go
he-
harder from the beginning you ever went before.
And that was the best match he ever wrestled. He just lit it up. I mean, this kid's tough.
Yes.
I mean, he was ranked, higher than Anthony all year,
Right.
in the state, and he went to the state the year before. So, you win a match down there, you've done something. It's just a tough.
It's the greatest. It's the greatest. You get
we're
there,
the-
it's the greatest.
Yeah,
as,
you're
George-
getting
as
there.
George
Between
says,
Ohio and Pennsylvania, those
yeah.
are the two best wrestling states in the country.
yeah, George says this
Yeah.
first of all time. This isn't Rhode Island.
This isn't
Right.
right.
That's what it's like,
Hey,
you know.
seriously, now,
Yeah.
incredible. Let's take it back.
Okay.
You're a Boardman. Basketball forever.
Right.
Football forever.
Right.
Not wrestling forever.
Well-
How do you get this thing off the ground and get it to the point where you have numbers, you have kids that want? Now, I know it's a legacy sport. I mean,
It is,
I
right.
guarantee those kids down in that medal stand, uncles, cousins, etc. How do you get to that point when you have to start from zero?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, the sport just keeps getting tougher. I mean, as these youth kids just keep wrestling more and more, and staying in the sport, it makes it tough. It's hard to just walk into the sport and win. I mean, I always say it takes 3 years to be really competitive. No matter where you start in wrestling, no matter how good athletic ability you have, it takes 3 years. Now we've been blessed at Boardman to have at least one state placer every year for the last 10 years, which
about
is
that?
rare.
How about that?
That's not many. There might be
Can brag about
3
that,
or
that's
4
right.
other coaches in the state,
Yes.
Division I, can say that. But for some reason, we do. You know, we're able to get a guy there, whether it's you know.
Well, there's a reason for it, because
No.
in places, and we talked about it, you go year round, and these kids have bought into the hey, I can't do this just wrestling high school. I
Right.
can't just.
Well, I always say this: if you're not doing another sport, you got to be. You know, doing nothing is not an answer. Okay, if you're a track athlete or football athlete or baseball,
different. That's a
fine.
different story,
You go right
yes.
into your other sport. You know what? The competitiveness keeps them going.
Right.
That's
Bingo.
fine.
Yes.
But you know what? If you're just lifting weights for football, that doesn't
cut
do
it.
it.
That doesn't cut it.
No, that doesn't cut it. That's not competing.
And
That's just
competing.
training.
That word
is-
Competing.
yeah, that's
The
it.
word is competing.
It
I
is.
love that
It's
word.
competing. Whether you're running a race, doing a wrestling
Whatever.
match, throwing a softball, competing is what makes kids better and improve in all the sports.
And it sounds like, as you said, 10 straight years, your practices have to get them ready for that.
Oh.
Tell us about your practice, how you do get them ready for that.
I would say that, you know, we're pretty unique in how we practice, because I don't run kids into the ground. I don't burn them out. I mean, we get to mid-January, we start tapering our practices off. We go from an hour and a half on Monday. Thursday, we go a half hour before a tournament. That's it. We slowly taper it
What
off.
made you?
Well,
because we both do that in basketball.
Yeah.
As a basketball coach, what made you go to that?
I
that
picked it up from
situation?
Coach Pasquale, who's been an
Gotcha.
assistant. He did it when he coached, and he's one thing that, you know, we sat down and talked. And he said, "Dom, we got to keep the kids fresh. Got to have them fresh
important
legs.
thing.
You know,
Also fresh mind.
fresh
legs,
fresh
and
legs, fresh mind.
Yes,
Right.
uh-huh.
So, you know, I implemented my very first year with him there, and you know, I've done it ever since, and it
How
works.
long ago was that?
14 years ago.
So he's Coach Pascal. He's been with you for 14 years.
Yeah, he has.
That's why I was asking.
Right, and we time the
Okay.
minutes. We will go only so many live minutes on Monday, so many live minutes on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, practically nothing, because we want them to get to the tournament feeling fresh
Yes, you do.
and not tired and burned out, and and also with the weight cutting. You know, I'm probably one of the coaches who kind of it hurts me because we lose as a team sometimes, but if the kid's having trouble with weight, I'll let them bump up for a dual meet during the year.
Awesome.
It kind of saves them. You know what I mean? Save them for the important stuff at the end of the year.
And you get more kids out. I'm telling you.
Well-
I'm telling you, if you have kids caught, now winning takes care of all that.
Right.
If you've got kids always cutting weight and they
Oh.
don't win anyway,
No.
so they're saying,
They'll
Coach,
quit.
why am I doing
Yeah,
this,
they'll-
Coach?
yeah.
I'm not staying out. I'm losing 30 pounds. I'm no good. Now,
Right.
if they win, everything's taken care
Everything,
of.
right,
But
but-
I like your idea. It's
Yeah,
an awesome
so that's
idea.
our philosophy. And of course, I got a great staff. We have an array of technique that we show. You know, I don't. It's another thing I don't. I don't have a set technique. We take kids, we look at them, look at their body type, look at their personality, whatever, and we can have kids drilling 5, 6 different moves in the room. We don't drill. I don't just shove a double leg down everybody's
Gotcha.
throat. So you got to kind of go the extra mile and see what
You gotta
works
know
for
your
the kid.
personality,
You got to know them.
know-
You got to know what they have.
Sure.
And that's the
That's
way you got to.
awesome.
You got to push them in that direction. You got guys that like to wrestle on top.
Yes.
Guys that don't. Guys that
Talk to me a little bit about it. I'm reading the other day. We have Ralph Sidrich on the show years ago. He loses a 1-point match because his hands locked.
Oh.
I'm reading he lost the state championship.
I know he did.
I read the other day the same thing happened.
It
How
did.
does something like that happen? And is that the
And
right
you're a great wrestler.
call?
We're talking about great wrestlers. How do you get?
I can see me.
how
I
do you do
wouldn't
that?
know the difference.
You're talking about the NCAA finals.
Right.
Wilps
Yeah.
from
Yes.
Pitt.
It was
Uh-huh,
the
yeah.
Pitt
Yeah, he did, and he
Penn
locked his
State.
hands. The guy just, he had to ride him out, and the guy turned in real quick, and you know what? He caught his hand. It was the right call. I mean, it's an elementary mistake,
Oh,
but
my
you know what?
goodness.
If he didn't do that, the guy probably would have got it.
That's why he went to. He said, "I'll take my chances."
So
Maybe
it's
the
like
referee won't see it.
exactly. So you know what? It's like,
Oh, geez.
can you fault him or not? I mean, if he doesn't lock the kids out, he loses anyhow. Is the way I look at it.
Okay, Dom. So I started the show off getting on my boy Joe, your brother. So for you people watching, that's his brother. Who's also Joe's a good wrestler also. And how would you? Let's finish by how the family gets together now. What's the conversation with
What's-
the family
what's the
and,
order?
and how it feels that your son and your nephew did the ultimate. Tell me how it's going to be for
Well,
the
it's
next 20 years.
We got. Well, first of all the cousins are good in sports. So we got, Frank's daughters are great soccer players. Anthony's sisters, a heck of a
Golf at
golfer.
Indiana University, yes.
My oldest son Nick is wrestling at Mount Union. He was ranked as high as 3rd in the country as a freshman this year. So this is just part of the family, is the way
Right.
we look at it. We don't really sit around going, "Wow, that was great." We just I hate to say it.
This is what we accept. This is what we accept in the Mancini family.
This is what we expect.
Expect
This
and
is kinda
accept
what we
both,
expect.
exactly,
I mean, you
yeah.
know, we raise our kids tough. You know, we make them play by the rules every day. They know, you know, there's a line in the sand as far as what they can and can't do. And we expect them to train hard, work hard, and be dedicated to whatever they do. And you know what? It pays off for them. You know, that's the key. The key is to get it into them. If they get it, you know,
Yeah, it's
they're
not
going to
gonna
be
come from
successful.
you.
No,
They have to buy in.
absolutely
That's
not. They got to buy in, and
But
they got to do it themselves.
But I will say this, and Bobby Knight, who's one of the experts in our sport, the first thing I ever went to him, he said, "What you demand is what you get." Well, you demanded excellence
Right.
from your family,
They
and
know.
also it's in the
And-
family.
and I'll
when
say-
you demand excellence, that's what you get.
I'll say excellence defined by effort. Effort is the
That's
key
what
in
I
our
mean.
family. It's not, you know, results are results. I
Right.
mean, you could have somebody
Excellence
you can't beat,
by effort,
but
that's
but
right.
effort. You've got to be able to put the effort in on the mat, or on the golf course, or on the soccer field, and they do. All the kids do. It's fun. I love watching my nieces play sports, and you know, I mean, it just
It doesn't
much-
matter what it is. As you
just-
said,
it doesn't matter
give
what
us
it
your
is.
best at
Give
all
it,
times.
and they do, and it's always exciting. So, you know, I mean, I can remember our very first when Maria was a freshman, and they won the state championship for Poland.
Poland, we talked
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
You know, I went down to, you know, watch the, you know, I wasn't going to go, and finally realized I better get down there. And, you know, just what if they win it? And
Yes.
sure enough, she won it. They won the state
Now,
title.
we have a couple minutes left. Tell me what your schedule, wrestling season's over, as far as the school, what does your schedule entail between now and next fall?
What I do, right now we have Green Machine Wrestling Club, which is freestyle and Greco-Roman. So there's a tournament just about every weekend to mid-May.
Are the tournaments local, or do you?
We travel, but I am hosting the USA Wrestling State Freestyle Championships at Boardman on May 3rd this year,
about that?
which is awesome. It's
Okay.
going to be a great event. So we do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Travel on the Saturdays. I do usually do private. I'll do privates. Monday, Wednesday, kids that want trained. When we get into summer, we'll probably take some local dual meet tournaments that Boardman will go to, and then we'll get ready for the Junior Olympics. I'm taking 3 teams to Virginia Beach the first week in August. So that's a freestyle tournament that Anthony and Vince have gone to, and it's a good tournament because they'll get like 15 matches in a week.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
And then I'll take-
it's full blast.
then I'll take 2 weeks off.
It's full blast.
Then I'll take two weeks off.
That's your big week. That's your
That's
big
what-
hangover. 2 weeks. That is awesome.
Now, listen, we have about a minute and a half. What would you tell somebody that had a young man that wanted to be a wrestler, as far as when would you start them, and what type of regime would you recommend to them until they're old enough to decide if they're pretty good at it or not? Like, say,
Well-
5th, 6th grade, a little young but not too young, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. It's each kid has a different level of maturity. I mean, I see second graders that can wrestle.
What do you
know?
say about that?
I mean, well, if they can wrestle and they can do it, that's fine. I mean,
Okay.
but if they're going to go out and they're going to start crying and get hurt every match,
You
and
don't want-
they,
they're not ready
they
for
know how to
that.
win, they don't know how to lose, they don't know how to do anything. Then it's probably not.
It's interesting what you said there. Don't know how to win or lose.
Right, they
Exactly.
don't quite understand what it's all about yet.
Right.
So it's a time. But I will tell you this: wrestling is caught, not taught. Okay, it's a sport that you've got to you've got to want it.
What a great line that
Okay,
is.
it's caught, not taught. I could teach somebody moves all until I'm blue in the face. But unless they want it and they want to hit that double leg themselves, and then that's going to make them learn to hit that double
We're
leg.
going to be using that line all the time.
Mike Tyson
That
had a line.
line-
He said
that
they all
line-
had a plan until I punched them.
Yeah.
He said they all had a plan. He said that I punched him in the mouth, and all of a sudden
That's
their plan
over.
wasn't
Yeah.
any good.
We love that. I love that line. That line was a sensational
Yeah.
line. We
Yeah.
use that.
Taught,
We have
not
private
taught.
lessons
Beautiful,
too.
beautiful.
We'll say that to our private lessons now.
Yeah, that's
What
good.
can we do? If you don't, if you
If
don't,
you're not going to put,
It's
it's not going to
not
happen.
taught.
It's not magic.
There's no magic. It's you. You got to do
Yes.
Hey,
it.
Coach, we're out of time. I want to thank you so much. Looking forward to having your nephew in here after. We'll talk again. Thanks again for watching Bottom Line Sports Talk. Welcome back to Bottom Line Sports Talk. We're here with Anthony Mancini. Anthony, welcome to Bottom Line. We talked to your uncle a little bit about Boardman Wrestling. Now we want to have you in and talk about your individual success and such. We talked during the break. You're not sure about what you want to do next year, where you want to go or whatever, but would you like to wrestle?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Wrestling's involved in it.
it's my life.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
I'm ready. I'm ready to take it to the next level. I mean, I think since the 8th grade, I was looking forward to wrestling in college. I made the decision. I had either golf or wrestling, and I chose wrestling because I knew I knew it would just fit me. So
Yeah, that's right. I think it was a great choice because I know the legacy of your family. Your sister's a great golfer at Indiana University, and your uncles and your dad all love wrestling. Tell us when you first started and go through your career and all the weight changes you had to
Who
make
pushed
as
the
you went
button?
in. What happened?
When did the light go off when you said that's for me?
I think seeing my cousin Nick, I watched him a couple times. I went to practice. I was young. I was around 5. I saw him do it pretty good. I'm like, you know what, Dad, I want to try this out. And he was all for it. So he was pumping me up and getting me ready. So I wasn't like the best. I wasn't athletic. I was kind of a fat Italian little kid, chubby.
Mm-hmm.
I remember your little Amp. I remember you. But here's what you had though. You had the Mancini in you.
Right.
And
I had the
that
drive.
part.
That's right,
There's
yeah.
a drive. There's a drive for
Something,
that.
right.
Something,
Yeah, that's
something
right.
genetically.
Yes.
It is. No, it's in it. So
some-
that really makes up for it. And tell us a little bit now that we moved on. You had your cousin led you that way. Now you're moving up. I think you said you ended up wrestling at 160 this year.
Yeah, I was
Is that
at 160 my senior year. Yeah.
At your heaviest. Tell us about this senior year, the greatest year of your life wrestling. Tell us about how you went about ending up at the state tournament.
Well, I'm gonna start off in the summer. I was in Fargo, North Dakota, with the 7,900 best wrestlers in the country, doing freestyle and Greco. And my first time out there, you go in the Fargo Dome. You guys probably know that. I mean, it's
Yeah, we
huge.
know of it.
Yeah.
Youngstown State plays there football
All the time. And
And,
Don't do well there
You
either.
look up. So
Nobody does well
No,
there.
no.
Nobody does well there.
Yeah.
So you look up and you look at this big dome. I'm like, oh my god! And I'm like, this is it. This is like the. I trained a week in St. Ed's High School. I busted my butt. I was a Greco state champ, so I got invited on the team. And I go down there. I get my butt kicked in.
You find out, wow.
Yeah, I go 0-2. I get pinned once, and I get tech the other time. So it was a rude awakening, but it was good for me. I think that's what took me to the next level of being prepared for come the season time in state. And I think that's what helped me the most was doing. I think I got like 60 matches in, 50 matches in. And that'll take a whole season, the off season.
Yes, it is.
So I think that's what gave me the extra kick to be as good as I was. And I think winning and losing, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter if I won. It didn't matter if I got teched or pinned.
Right.
I just wanted to get the matches and be competitive, like my Uncle Dom said.
Well, 2 thoughts from that. Number one, it did matter because it showed you that, wait a minute, I better practice really, really hard to get.
Yeah, I was good
get-
back there. I was the
Right.
champ, right? Wait a minute, I'm the
It's
champ.
another level I have to get. So you
Right.
did learn that.
Right.
But also, number 2, you learn the value of competition.
Right.
And that's in wrestling, that's everything.
It's
Ann.
huge.
And it's everything. And you said winning, losing. Well, it's on your shoulders. There's no teammate next to you that you can point to and say it was his fault.
No one to
Right.
blame.
You're the guy wrestling. Tell us a bit about your practices with your uncle and how that prepares you for your state game.
Like I said, it was the room. It was tough. It was hot, sweaty. Everyone was mean, nasty. Everyone was losing weight, cutting weight. Frank's on my butt because my Uncle Frank.
That's another part of the family.
Right.
We haven't mentioned Uncle Frank yet. That's
He's,
right.
He was definitely by my side the year, but I think 8th grade year when I was wrestling at Poland High School, my Uncle Dom coached me in the state tournament, and I'm like, this is it. And he coached me. He made me place in the OAC state tournament, so I knew my Uncle Dom was he was there for me. So practices, they weren't as bad. They weren't. I wrestled tough. I was a captain also, so I also had to be a leader, which was
That's good for him.
yeah,
Good for you.
that was big.
That was really big for
because
you.
it kept me in line, and I didn't veer off and start losing a lot of weight, not practicing well. So I think it got me a good mindset. But
I like that. I like that. Some people don't take the captaincy serious. Ann.
No, I did.
With that, you took it serious, and that really helped you because that's the one because I know you personally. That's the one thing you could do. You
Up
could
and
you
down,
could get
right.
you could get off the map.
Right.
And when you get on, because you're really good because you take it serious, and I knew you'd be good if you did that.
Right.
And that's what you did. Congratulations to you, Anth.
Thank you.
About the weight. Tell me about your weight classes coming up? You didn't wrestle the same weight all the time, did you?
No, I was actually my freshman year I was 138, sophomore year I was 145, junior year I was 152, and senior year I was 160. So I just put on a weight class each year, which it's not bad. It's good. I think it's okay. And
Well, What was the major difference in the 4 classes, Anthony? Is there something that stands out? About,
Yeah,
what is the
I
difference?
think as heavier you get, is more the kids that play football, and they're stronger, but they're not as
Oh, interesting.
I think I had more technique than they did because they
so
didn't
the
do
technique at a lower weight
weights.
Right.
helped you when you got up to the upper
Right.
weight.
Because basically makes
not-
a
they're
lot
not
of
playing
sense
football.
because they're just wrestlers.
right.
A kid of 116, he's not playing football.
No.
No, that does
Yeah,
make a lot
exactly.
of
So
sense.
the lighter, we would have never known that. So now
No,
you get
that
up
makes
there at
sense.
160.
Right.
You feel
And
you have advantage
Right.
in the technique.
And I got some strength. It was there, but I think I out technique most of my wrestlers only because I wrestled in these off-season tournaments, and these kids were just lifting and playing football and not getting the experience that I was.
Well, we talked to your uncle about it, suggestions for a kid. Now that you're getting ready to go to college, give me a suggestion you would give for any junior high kid that had the same aspirations as Anthony Mancini.
I would just say stick with it. Keep your head in the game the entire season. And I think don't be a leader, not a follower. That's how I go.
Awesome.
I love
Great
that
answer.
saying. It was just
Great
like.
answer.
I did my own thing. All my friends played football. I have like 3 friends that wrestle.
Yes.
That's it. And they are at Poland. I'm at Boardman now.
Right.
Mhm.
So I got them in the sport, and they loved it, and they stuck with it. And
Be a leader, not a follower.
We have a couple
That's a
minutes
great
left.
answer.
How about weight training? How important? How far as you went further? How much difference did you think strength made? Did you know when I get to the final 8 or whatever, this dude's going to be a monster?
right, yeah, I would think I was definitely bigger than most of the kids because I feel like I was stronger than them. It was more of a long muscle.
Okay.
These kids have short, compact muscles just from benching. I would run. I would do CrossFit. I would do all the other.
So CrossFit's a good
Yes,
idea.
CrossFit's huge wrestling because I think you're more flexible and more strength as in different positions and than just benching and doing squatting. So I think I was stronger in that aspect, but I also think my mental strength was huge because I would run every day 5 miles. I couldn't stop. I just kept my mind right. I would train with
When did
Jack.
you do that, Anth? All year round or just?
Yeah, it was all year round. I trained with other kids too. My coach Jack Raver, he would help
Uh-huh.
us. He'd come with us, and he'd keep us. It was more like a mental strength.
Just as
conditioning.
important. Just as
Right.
important as the physical
Just as
strength.
it was actually more important.
Yeah. You mentioned flexibility. When I wrestled in college in a class. That's the thing that stood out to me. I thought I was a pretty good wrestler until they got me in a hole and I couldn't get my. And the flexibility killed me. You really have to work on that. So the young kids they don't take stretching serious.
Right, you have
and
to.
you better really tell them about that a little bit. How serious flexibility is.
The 20 minutes before every practice, you have to stretch. We do it every day.
Serious though.
Serious
not
stretching,
joking
just,
stretching.
Not just
No,
talking
those are
and
nonsense.
No.
And I think like walking around and doing it, doing more high
Dynamic
knees,
stretching.
dynamic stretching.
That's called
Right.
dynamic stretching. Yeah,
Right.
that's the way to go. No question
Right.
about it.
So I think that was important. I also think the mental strength thing was the most. It was there. That's what I needed. So
Awesome. That Anthony really helped us out a lot.
Last minute. We got
Okay, one more minute, okay.
One more minute. Tell us 10 years from now where we're going to see Anthony.
hopefully I could get a degree in nursing and I could finish
Well,
my
that's a
4
great
years.
degree.
Finish
That's a great degree.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to help
Yes.
kids. I want to help people. It's weird of a wrestler
No,
to say that.
no, it isn't. No, it isn't. That's. I think you don't realize in wrestling how you help little kids watching you.
Right.
There's some little kid that's watched Anthony Mancini wrestle say, "I want to be like him." Like you said, you want to be like your cousin Nick.
Right.
So wrestling isn't that. It's a serving type of place that kids in practice. The kids you work with at practice, they want to be like Anthony. They see how hard he worked. They see how he took the caps. So it leads right into nursing, Anthony. Don't think that does in wrestling. Right.
Hey, a leader,
Yes.
not a follower.
Yes.
Right,
You heard it right here on Bottom Line Sports Talk.
On Sunday, June 7th, the Armstrong Street Scene Car and Custom Bike Show roars into Shepherd Self-Storage in Boardman. Join us from noon to 4 p.m. for hot cars, trucks, and bikes, including this year's feature car, the Sox and Martin 1969 Roadrunner. Enjoy concessions, a Chinese auction, music by Thomas John, and don't miss a live recording of Armstrong Channel 20 Street Scene with host Rick Guerrera and guest host Krista Sylvester. Donate a canned good for a chance at great prizes. Proceeds benefit Breaking Bread.